gentlemen, boys and girls, I actually just a couple of days ago happened to see this man feature in a Beach Poets. Now, I've seen this man so many times. He's so entertaining, and I love listening to his words. And I got to hear an entirely different set just a couple of days ago on the final episode of, or final week of Beach Poets for this year, which is stunning. This man is insanely entertaining. I love hearing this man. It's really, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to try to describe him anymore. But ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for phenomenal people. Give it up for Bob Lawrence.
Thank you, Janet. Of course, I get to say welcome when I go over work every day, right? You might notice here that there are some young folks. These are friends of my son Andrew, and they may be wondering, what is Bob Lawrence doing? Playing bars and coffee houses just like his son. So I thought I'd read a poem that kind of explains that to kick things off. It's called Old Poets First Slam. Upon hearing the young Chicago slammers knock, knock, knock at the gates of heaven, while simultaneously navigating the shadowy waters of the river Styx, I told the sagacious, never mendacious word doctor Robert S. Boone, I'd like to try that. Baby, he whispered, smiled, in your next life. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no next life. So now for your edification, stupefaction, osterization, your Chicago baloney artist, bard butcher to the world, fool maker, stacker of rhymes, who will entertain you, detain you, restrain you, pull the hinges off your inner sanctum doors, silence your babbling everyday worries, and make you listen with synesthetic delight to his wire eye. Hear me, tattered old poet, gray-beard puppet, held by invisible strings, while I slam, bam, alakazam, thank you, ma'am, oh man, a Shevitz ram you into the heart of being. Let us go then, you and I, for a cumulus ride on high. Lawrence in the sky with diamonds. Diamonds splintering into shards of light as we hurl them from the last car of the roller coaster on its last descent into the poetry of night. Yes, Dr. Boone, you guessed it. We're at a carnival. Step right up to my tabular, fabular, platonically ideal table for a game of chance. Under which shell does the image lie? Under which shell does the image tell the truth? Under which shell does the image embrace the entire fucking cosmos? What will you wager? Your house? Your left testicle? What worth is life without risk? Don't want to play? Okay, step this way. See the ancient marquee, the sign. Letters of light dance across tiny yellow bowls. 1 of 3 burned out to spell old King Coleridge's haunted halfway house for slam-bam poets. Let us go inside. See the wavy mirrors in the vestibule. See our reflections, sinuous and evanescent as opium. We do not linger in this room. We enter the stately torture dome of the imagination. Filaments of luminescence spiral through the air. The lovers and demons that haunt my dreams coalesce, take me by the hand, and lead me to the magic door, the one labeled deep shit. I know what's on the other side. Moi turned inside out. Jagged memories hanging like ornaments on bare, brittle bones. My future a handful of dust beneath the shadow of a melting clock. But I will knock, knock, knock at the door until it yields. I will fight fear and failure, frailty and famine, to find the words, to spin the line, to spark the rhyme, to shape the beat, to say what seems, to be what is, to give you a momentary diversionary, willing or unwilling suspension of misbelief. And yes, Dr. Boone, I will slam, bam, alakazam, slam, bam, alakazam, slam, bam, thank you, man, for getting me started. All right. Here's a new poem, some of those ornaments. silence. The belt. I was a good son. As a kid, I would sit at the Formica table in the kitchen and listen to my father's prohibition tales, some of them for the 10th time, while he drank beer and ate cupcakes. I'd get up early in the morning, I never was a morning person, to go flounder fishing with him at Hempstead Harbor in a little rowboat where we peed in an empty coffee can. One time I was home from college about to join friends for a burger and a chat at 2 a.m. Awakened by the noise, my father, usually all laissez-faire, met me at the door. "You're not going anywhere." I stayed home, didn't complain. After my sister's wedding in Vermont, we were looking for a motel, with me driving, my father too inebriated to pass a breath test, my mother in the back seat numb with depression. I pulled into the parking lot of a picture postcard motel, nestled in a lush green forest. My father insisted we find a Howard Johnson's. I'm exhausted, I said, "Let's stay here." My mother broke her silence. "Bobby's tired." My father became enraged. "I'll drive," he said. "Get out from behind the wheel." He opened the car door. I threaded the gas pedal so he couldn't step out. Then I drove for another 2 hours until we spotted an orange roof. He got his wish, and the car didn't end up decorating a tree. When I moved to the Midwest, I called home every week. Every year I sent him a big Father's Day card that he proudly hung on the wall. After my mother died, he'd visit me in Chicago. We'd take in the sights, see movies and plays, hit the neighborhood bars. Even that time I had a skin rash, so floored my doctor photographed my torso for the annals of dermatology. And my dad admired me for ignoring that itch. In 1985, my father began sitting at green lights, tuning entire octaves to the same pitch, knocking on the neighbor's door to ask if they'd seen his imaginary girlfriend. Diagnosis, thinning of the cerebral cortex. His situation overwhelmed my sister. I flew to New York, spent 9 days arranging health care and Medicaid so he could leave the hospital and stay in his own house. I was a good son. So why do my failures burn me? When he was recovering from a nervous breakdown, my mother told me to go to the candy store with him to buy a model airplane kit. Tell him it's for you so he doesn't get embarrassed. I stood away from the counter and let him buy it, all by himself. When his mother died, he sat at the funeral home, hour after hour, alone. My mother hated his mother, but I still should have showed up. "Hi, Dad, I'm here for you." Visiting him at the nursing home near the end of his life, I noticed he was wearing my belt. Must have swiped it the last time I was at the house. "Hey, that's my belt." The nursing home staff ordered him to give it to me. I said, "That's okay, let him keep it." They persisted. "Take off the belt." He stood up, pulled the belt through his trouser loops, handed it to an orderly, who handed it to me. Why didn't I say, "Let him keep the fucking belt"? I couldn't wear that belt. I couldn't throw it out. 25 years later, it still hangs in my closet. "Dad, why does your belt keep whipping me? Is it because you never did?" My last piece is a little on the humorous side, so we have to change the mood maybe a little bit here. I have this one poem that, I don't know, people seem to think is funny. I don't know. Failed fetish. I have known you for 10 years, and I've never seen your toes. Never have you worn sandals or shoeless see-through hose. No less prance about barefoot. I can decipher this clue. You are reticent of contact, and I am clueless if I think that I will ever play the amazing fingertip shoe salesman with your lovely unseen toes. All right, let's try this one. Pea brain. A person with a brain the size of a pea could not contemplate, cogitate, or see. Yet linking pea to brain is no delusion. A shrunken cooked pea has convolutions. Imagine a pea-sized brain in an ant. The bug could apply for a genius grant. So although P and P are homonyms, the P is a brainy phenomenon. sentimental tale. Mistake met Mr. Spud. They took in a double feature. They downed a few drinks. They made staccato love. 'Twas a night of meat and potatoes. Now for this next piece is what I call a monologue sandwich. Usually when I do a monologue sandwich, I have poetry at the beginning and the end, and I have like a monologue in the middle. This is going to be different. I'm going to have a monologue at the beginning, and at the end, I'm going to do poetry in the middle, okay? And the situation here, we're going to imagine that a late middle-aged man, a very late middle-aged man, has decided that he doesn't work at his job anymore. He wants to make a living as a stand-up comedian, okay? I haven't quit my job, but our character has. Hi out there. I'm scared. It's my first comedy gig here, and what if I get rejected, you know? Oh, and I've known rejection, believe me. You know, my mother, when she had a few drinks, she used to say, "Bobby, I love you, but I don't like you," echoing the sentiments of my teachers. Only my teachers didn't love me. And when I started dating at a rather advanced, embarrassingly advanced age, things got even worse. A bunch of us were planning this group dinner, and a buddy of mine says, "Hey, Bobby, I want you to meet this girl. She's a blonde. I'll set you up." Yeah, she was a blonde, all right, thanks to a bottle of peroxide. And she was kind of pudgy and not really all that pretty. She took one glance at me, didn't talk to me, didn't say hello, didn't look at me for the entire evening. What the fuck? Well, finally, one time I got this girl to go out on a second date with me, you know? And it was an accomplishment. So what does she do? She starts complaining all the time. "Oh, you're so obtuse, Bobby. You don't have any sensitivity for my needs." Yada, 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 yada. On and on and on and on. So I ask her, "Can't you say something nice about me?" And she says, "Okay, you're tall." You know, and what if the audience rejects me? They don't laugh. And I'd be like trying to turn on a woman and the electricity just isn't there. "Oh yeah, baby, right. Is it in yet?" You know, it's not good, not good, not good. I don't want that. I need a fallback. If comedy doesn't work out, how about tragedy? Yeah, tragedy. Aristotle said that when you see a tragedy, you have all this pity and fear. And then the catharsis of these emotions makes the audience a better person. I'm like a fucking doctor. A stand-up tragedian. I could start the first tragedy house. Time for the poem, obviously. Welcome. Hey, did I knock myself out here?
Did you? We'll switch.
Gotta learn the ropes. Welcome to the tragic floor. I hope you enjoy our decor. The outside like a giant hearse, and here inside ambiance of ancient funeral parlor. Each table thick gnarly wood, topped with a votive candle and a box of tissues for weeping. I don't tell jokes, I tell tragic tales. After 40 years of painstaking work, a woman finally reaches retirement age. How she has yearned for her golden years. Now they spread out before her like a verdant meadow bathed in the summer sunlight. She plans to travel around the world, only been to 4 states so far. Her co-workers plan a grand retirement party. She's not known for her gift of gab, so she works for weeks on her speech. A standing ovation as she steps behind the podium. During her attention getter, she drops dead. A nice kid from a tough part of town studies hard and excels in sports. He's got the future by the balls. One day, on the way to SAT tutoring, gang crossfire. Pow, pow, pow. Dead on arrival. I'll add a tragic tale from my own life. Late afternoon, my father picks me up at Kennedy in his VW Beetle. My new contacts, colored brown like my irises, render the Queen's landscape an eerie yet soothing arch. Cool, and I'm not even stoned. We talk small talk, the food on the plane, the tuning customers, the changing leaves. As if describing a news story, he tells me last week he found my mother unconscious next to an empty bottle of sleeping pills. He called 911. They pumped her stomach. We'll pick up dinner on the way home. Your mother isn't cooking yet. By now, the people in the audience are pulling at their tissues. So I hit them with hardcore tragedy. Hey everybody, you're all gonna die. It's just a matter of time. I can see the finish line up ahead. Maybe you can't see it, but it's there waiting for you. And when you cross it, you don't slow down on the track and get ready for the next race. No, you drop straight down into a deathless chasm, like stepping onto the elevator. But there is no elevator, just a shaft. Annihilation. Heaven, my friends, is a cruel joke. People say that the dearly departed one is up there, looking down on us. Yeah, old Joe's in heaven, watching us and smiling. Joe's happy now. Hi, Joe. What horse shit. What is up there? The vacuum of space, riddled with death-dealing radiation. There's nobody up there looking down, except maybe for aliens waiting to devour us. Independence Day without the hokey plot, and they win. Joe is a mound of ashes on the mantelpiece. He doesn't have eyes anymore. What can you see without eyes? Joe can't see shit. At Jewish funerals, you hear how we live on by being remembered by others. I do not find that comforting. Your wife remembers you, yeah, sure, but she's remarried, she's fucking someone else. This is a comfort? Your wife remembers you? Come on, get real. Stand-up tragedian, what a concept. But no, 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 no. I will not give up on comedy. I will not become a stand-up tragedian. You've got to look hard. Find something to it. There's got to be something that'll get the audience in. You can try some broad one-liners, you know. Yeah, my wife just joined Weight Watchers. She watches her weight go up, and I pay for it $10 a week. I told her this is a waste of your time and my money. So she says, I like rubbing elbows with successful men, even if they are fat. And I say, well, I hope that's all you're rubbing. I got real pissed. I called her a $10 whore. She whipped me with a $10 bill. An insult to my manhood. So I worked out and got real strong. She had to whip me with a 50 to subdue me. And if the one-liners don't work, you can always do the Johnny Carson thing, talk about how the audience isn't laughing, Hey, this is a comedy house. You're allowed to laugh. Are there any men in the audience? Of course there are men in the audience. Well, two things never fail with men. Dressing and drag, and fart jokes. Excuse me a minute. I've got my props. I can't flop. Woo! Ow! Okay. Men prefer blondes. Except for James Bond. There we go. Oh yes, What was that now? What, Colonel? I am so pleased to meet you. I sincerely apologize for my informal attire. On the way over here, these two hooligans knocked me over and took my
full-length gown right off my body. Why, a lady isn't safe anywhere these days. I'm sure a man of your worldly experience understands. My facial hair? Well, last night I had a few cocktails. You know how that goes. And instead of putting on my renewal cream, I put on Daddy's Rogaine. My hair grows so fast. Why, if I let it would fill the entire house. But this is going to fall off, and underneath there's smooth, touchable skin. Oh yes, you may kiss my hand. Oh, what talented lips, and such a titillating tongue. Why, if you introduce me to that Mr. Jim Beam you've got there, maybe you can titillate some more delectable parts here. Excuse me, a gentle breeze. Those itty-bitty jalapenos, why are they so nasty? Yes, you've got to do something. No, don't give up, don't give up. Don't become a stand-up tragedian. Stick with your comedy, stick with your comedy. And remember, comedy is best when it has a little bite. I'd like to read one last little poem called The Now. The now is the nose of a kitten nuzzling against your neck. The now is a joke whose every word is its punchline. The now is the tail of a cow waving behind a wooden fence beneath a cloud-crazed sky. The now is the ever-present hush of background sound. The now is the quantum crackle of the ever-restless mind. The now is her butterfly fingers fluttering across my skin. The now is a sandwich with an invisible middle. The now is the speed of time, more variable, but also more inexorable than the speed of light. The now is the blaring car alarm that won't let you sleep. The now is the sound of 3 hands clapping. The now is frozen freefall, but look closely how it melts at the edges. The now is a paradox without resolution. The now is the source, absolver, and destroyer of myth. The now is a strawberry turned inside out. The now is the nothing that is all there is. The now is the nuance of nonsense. The now is the problem, a solution to every problem, and the problem with no solution.
On Tuesday. Yes, you will. That was absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much, Bob Morris. And if anybody is interested, I am recording these things because we have weekly podcasts. I've heard poets say, this is really great because friends of mine who live on the other side of the country or weren't able to make it, you can always check it out on a podcast. If you go to chaoticarts.org/thecafe, you can find out information about podcasts or YouTube uploads of these things. Next week, for our feature, Pudd'nhead Press Master himself, Dave Gatchick's going to be, so I'm like, yay for Dave Gatchick. And a lot of the people that were open micers this evening also have appeared in mini features on nights when we don't have a feature. We have mini feature night, and that means you get up to 10 minutes for a show for yourself. And on the day after Labor Day, it's going to be a mini feature night. So anybody who wants to come out and just strut their stuff and show off and read some poetry, I'd love to hear it. The rest of the month in September has Rochelle Holt, who's had books published with Scars. She's a phenomenal performer, but she's a phenomenal writer, so I'm really looking forward to seeing her show. And then, the week after that, on September 20th, is a joint effort between Tom Roby and Janine Ravasloot. I know you guys have stuff going on in the end of August, but I'll be here to that. It's going to be great. And we got Charlotte Hart the week after that, and there's so much stuff. And if you ever want to know anything about the schedule, you can always check it out online, as I said, chaoticarts.org/cafe. And I look forward to seeing all of you here next week, and thank you again